Pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we get into the budget review, we have a few resolutions we have to, for lack of a better word, clean up. The first one is the Town Board Resolution number 132, the Rally for Black Lives. And, I'll let Mr. Masella take over from here.
Whereas at the August 12th, 2020 meeting of the Town of Pleasant Valley Town Board, representatives and supporters of the Rally for Black Lives March, which occurred in the Town of Pleasant Valley on July 18th, appeared to express their opinions and issues surrounding the day's events. And whereas the speakers unanimously expressed their dismay at the conduct of individuals who have organized a counter-protest for the exact same day, and specifically advised the town board that acts of physical violence and threats have been directed against the participants for the Rally for Black Lives March. And whereas the town board recognizes that the leaders of this march had contacted the town and had worked with the Dutchess County Sheriff's Department to organize the march, and the town board of the Town of Pleasant Valley recognizes that peaceful protests is a fundamental right for all to express their First Amendment right of free speech, whether that speech is in support or opposition of any issue. And whereas the town board was aware that the Dutchess County legislator was, and I guess still is, awaiting a report from the Sheriff's Department on handling of the event, which report has not yet been finalized. And although none of the town board members actually witnessed the events described, the sentiments expressed at the August 12, 2020 town board meeting raise significant concern regarding actions of individuals who may have been residents of the town, which, if so, no such actions are in keeping with the values of the Town of Pleasant Valley. And therefore be it resolved that the town board in the Town of Pleasant Valley denounces racism and violence towards black lives as well as any other minorities in the Town of Pleasant Valley. Racism and violence are not acceptable here. All people of color and minorities deserve to feel safe in their own neighborhoods, and therefore be it further resolved that the town board of the Town of Pleasant Valley expresses deep regret to all individuals affected by such actions. It further condemns any such actions that occurred on that day, and specifically states that if any of those individuals who have caused such disturbance were residents of the Town of Pleasant Valley excuse me, let me restart that sentence over. And be it further resolved that the town board of the Town of Pleasant Valley expresses deep regret to all individuals affected by such actions. It further condemns any such actions that occurred on that day, and specifically states that if any of the individuals who may have caused such disturbance were residents of the Town of Pleasant Valley, the town board condemns any such action and does not reflect the values of the town board or the citizens of Pleasant Valley. Be it further resolved that the town board of the Town of Pleasant Valley will set up an ad hoc committee to review the role of town government in the permitting and management of public demonstrations and to make recommendations for positive and productive policies and practices. The committee shall consist of 5 members to serve as volunteers. Each member shall be a resident of the Town of Pleasant Valley. And be it further resolved that the town board of the Town of Pleasant Valley hereby authorizes the town clerk to advertise the vacancies in accordance with town law. Letters of interest are to be sent to the town clerk. I will make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Discussion. Okay. First off, why has this resolution changed since the last resolution that was tried to be passed? And let me ask the question. Why aren't our resolutions being put out to the public so that they can read them? Is that something that we've changed?
That's never been a resolution.
I remember reading them. Yeah. I've been here long enough to know. I have.
I've never seen a resolution on that.
I've never seen a resolution prior to being passed on the town website.
I have. So,
Okay.
I mean, it is, we put the agenda, and we ask people to comment, and we ask people to participate, and yet we don't give them the information that they're participating in. So I got a problem with that, number one. Number two, why are we doing this now, and why can't we wait for all of the information? You say it right here,
It says it right in the
hold on,
resolution
let me finish, I'm sorry. it says the town board is aware that the Dutchess County legislator is awaiting a report from the sheriff's department in the handling of the event, which the report has not been finalized. And although none of the board members have actually witnessed, we're not a party of it, the described sentiments expressed on August 12th, the town board raised a significant concern regarding the actions. I get that. So why aren't we waiting for all the information is my only question. Why does this have to be done today? Why can't this be done when everything is brought forth?
So so in reading this, right, this says that we understand that what the Dutchess County Sheriff and the Dutchess County Legislator are looking into has nothing to do with us passing this resolution. This resolution states, John, that if, first off, it states that we don't stand for racism in this town, and it also says that if you were the one causing the problem on 44 that day, no matter which side of the aisle you were on, we're condemning you too. That, period. That's what this says.
I mean, not for nothing, and I respect all that, but we heard one side of the story. We didn't hear all the sides of the story.
The other sides of the story, I think, were the gentlemen that were arrested in our court here in Pleasant Valley. There was a number of arrests that happened due to.
I understand there was no arrest. There was just
No,
one
there was-
arrest recently, and it was put out, and that was it. And the person was not from Pleasant Valley.
There's been two.
There's been two.
Not from Pleasant Valley.
I don't know where they're from, but there's been two arrests.
Not from Pleasant Valley. I found
What's
out.
that got to do with
His
it?
name from.
I'm just saying. Let's get all the information first. Let's hear the whole thing.
If I'm not
And then,
mistaken, Mr. Sherwood, who was arrested, is from Pleasant Valley.
Van Wagner Road, that's not Pleasant Valley, as last I checked.
There are portions of it that are. Well, John,
I'm waiting for a report like everybody else. Why can't we wait for the report before we do this?
Because
It's not that I'm not going to vote for it down the line if that's the case, if all the things are said the way they were on August 12th, okay? I mean, and I agree that there shouldn't be racism anywhere, okay? But why don't we get all the information first? I don't understand why we have to do this.
So this
Now.
states nothing else, nothing other than, I move to close and for a roll call vote.
Wait a minute.
I can't.
I'm sorry, say again?
I move to close. Move to close discussion.
I'm not done. Okay? Look
Your
at
mic's not on. Your mic's not on.
my mic's turned on.
It should be. Hold on. It should be on. It's, the switch is it plugged in all the way? Well, let's give you this one.
Here, just use this.
There, no, there.
Okay, looking at this whole thing, and I was out of town, I was not able to make the last board meeting, I apologize for that. But I'm looking at this whole thing, and I'm feeling like certain people are trying to bully me into this, okay? And I don't like that. You don't bully a United States Marine, all right? We don't put up with that. I feel very strongly that way at this point. I feel like I'm being bullied. That's not going to happen. Second of all, looking at all this, I feel like by voting for this resolution, I'm cramming something down the town people's throats, and I don't feel that I have the right to do that, okay? That being said, the one thing I will agree with in the resolution right now, without having all the facts in, is that yes, we do need to set up an ad hoc committee, we do need to advertise for it, and we do need to make sure that the next time somebody from whichever side, I don't care who, all right, things are done by the letter of the law, because it is my observation that this time they were not, okay? They were not. And I looked into this. I looked into DOT Section 33B. I looked into use of town parks. Laws were not obeyed, okay? They were not.
The DOT thing that you mentioned, Keith, what is that?
That says, and I read it carefully, word for word, that you are required to have a permit
to block off any part of a state highway for any period of time. The permit was not obtained.
The permit was never obtained, Keith, for any Pleasant Valley weekend we've had in the past. Record would indicate that we don't have a copy of it.
Councilman Delvecchio, I think, wants to say something about that here.
I don't know where there would be a copy of it, but I do know that every single time that we had to have a parade, we had to file for permits to do so. And we had to file for permits to put up signs, and we had to file for permits to let people know. We covered all our bases every single time that we ran Pleasant Valley Weekend. So,
No.
maybe not when you ran it, Mary, but I know when we
That is
did
a
it,
big
we
no.
did.
Whether you did it.
Okay.
Or whether we were.
Regardless, it's not what we're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
here. 33B was not followed, okay? Neither was Parks' permit to gather, not followed.
What permit to gather in our parks?
To gather in our park, you have to have a permit.
A public park, you have to have a permit to gather in a public park.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Who has to have a permit to gather in the park? We've
To
never.
what,
Listen.
a form number would be, or a document name?
You want to call your roll call? Go ahead, call your roll call. I'm not going to be convincing you folks at all not to wait, which is what I said we should do for
So-
all the evidence.
Just to back up a second, to go back to Keith's, hold on one second. Just to go back 1 second, Keith, you mentioned that you were bullied into this. We were approached by the...
I was not bullied, and I'm not going to be.
No, what I'm saying is, you made mention that you didn't have enough time for this, but we were originally presented with the idea of this back in August 12th. It's September 23rd. We're over a month away. If anyone had, our meetings are open to the public. We televise them on YouTube. Like, people could call us, email us, and let us know. We've only had overwhelming support to pass something like this. We have not heard the latter.
At all.
At all.
I had.
Okay, let's get it over with. Roll call.
Councilwoman Albrecht. Yay. Councilman Delvecchio.
Abstain.
According to legal counsel, you need a reason, and state the reason why you're abstaining from a vote.
I'm abstaining because I did not witness anything, and I don't have all the facts.
Okay.
Councilman Pizzella.
Aye.
Councilman O'Hanlon.
Abstained for the same reason stated by Councilman Delvecchio.
Supervisor Sisinski.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, moving right along. Resolution number 141 of 2020, appointing a secretary to the planning board and secretary to the zoning board. Whereas the town board of the town of Pleasant Valley recognizes the need to split the position of secretary to the planning board and zoning boards into two respective positions. And whereas Chris Ann Simone is currently the secretary to the planning and zoning board, and whereas Courtney Corshane is currently the building and fire clerk. And whereas they both expressed interest in helping reform and restructure that office to better serve all the community, now therefore it be resolved that Chris Ann Simone is hereby appointed to the position of Secretary to the Planning Board for the Town of Pleasant Valley, and further, that Courtney Corshane is hereby appointed to the position of Secretary to the Zoning Board of the Town of Pleasant Valley, and be it further resolved that their salaries remain unchanged from their previous positions, and be it further resolved that pursuant to Section 403 of the Town of Pleasant Valley Applicant Handbook and Rule X11 of the rules for the just classified civil service of the town, Dutchess County, and probation period for this position shall be 26 weeks, and therefore be it resolved that the town supervisor is hereby authorized and directed to file any and all documents necessary to effectuate the intent of this resolution, and be it further resolved that this resolution shall be deemed to take effect immediately.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 140 of 2020, permission to advertise. Whereas there is a vacancy in the Town of Pleasant Valley Justice Court for Town Justice, resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Pleasant Valley does hereby authorize the town clerk to advertise the Town of Pleasant Valley website for the position.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just one question. How long do you feel the
Oh.
advertisement should be?
I would say a week.
A week
I-
at the most. 1 week?
I was gonna say 10 days, but that's,
Well, the only reason I say a week, we have a vacancy, and I want to try to fill it as soon as possible.
yeah, all right.
You want to,
7 days?
7 days, yep. Oh, that concludes that part of the meeting, and now we're going to go into budget review.
Oh, yeah, move to adjourn the special town board meeting.
Okay, second?
Mary?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, carried. Okay, now we're going to go into the budget review. Before we do that, I'd like to make a statement. In a perfect world, we could make adjustments to the budget and maybe add things to the budget. Unfortunately, we live in a COVID-19 world, and we have to respect the taxpayers and try to hold down as much as we can and try to stay under the cap or even under the last year's budget, if possible. So with that, what I've done, with the help of my bookkeeper, we have laid out to you our proposal for the tentative budget. And as you know, we have to hand the tentative budget out to the public on October 5th. So with that, you all have in front of you, we're going to do municipal court first. And everybody got that? Okay. Judge Sears is here. What's that? Oh, I was going to get to that afterwards. I didn't forget it. Just a second.
How are you, sir?
Good, how are you guys?
Judge Sears, would you like to make a statement?
Yes, actually, and as I apologize to you, Mr. Supervisor, and I apologize to the rest of the board, I was late
You could
getting in.
take your mask off if you want.
Okay.
Far enough away.
That way they can hear you.
I was late getting stuff to the supervisor and to the bookkeeper in large part because I was waiting for an effort to coordinate with my co-judge, who I did not know was going through some other issues, and frankly, he was not responsive. I understand that there was a proposed budget. My only comments to you were a couple of things. First, I would like to include, I know Officer Odell has been coordinating the court officers. I would like to make sure you include, I understand Officer McNair may be back in the near future, at least a line item for a fourth court officer, so that it's there. I don't know that we need any extra hours. I think Officer Odell has been very good at coordinating to make sure we have just as many as we need for that. So I'd put that line item back in. I'd probably take away the extra hours because you can coordinate that. I continue to request, and for those of you who aren't on the board, who weren't on the board in the past, but weren't on the board in the past, and I've always asked that we move the two court clerks to a full-time 40-hour-a-week position. I continue to make that request. I understand the budget consequences. I would just remind you that we are the fourth busiest town or village justice court in Dutchess County. The ones that are more active are Fishkill, East Fishkill, and Poughkeepsie, and then it's us. So we are an extremely busy court. It is difficult. We have excellent staff right now. Frankly, couldn't be happier the way they perform, especially work well together. But it is tough to handle a court our size with 2 part-time clerks. In my view, 2 part-time clerks. I know it's probably 1.5 FTE, but I'd like to see them both be 40 hours. With respect to equipment, we're not asking for anything more. What I am doing is, and it will be submitted quite likely very soon, I believe we'll need a resolution from you, and we'll ask you for that at time. Our JCAP grant is going to be requesting additional equipment, copy machines, and other things that we need to act a little more efficiently in the court. And candidly, you know, I think I had put in a nominal raise for the judges, but I understand frankly, the budget consequences that you guys are going to face. I mean, it's going to be a tough year. And that being said, just so that you know, I know that you probably anticipate certain revenues from the court. You obviously can't request us to find in any particular fashion. But what I have done, and this was even before my co-judge resigned, I have coordinated so that each of us would be doing 2 special prosecutor calendars a month. I know the supervisor knows that because he sees the special prosecutor here 4 times a month. And frankly, I need to do that because I have such a backup. I can't process a traffic ticket, for example. If a deputy or a state police trooper wrote a ticket today, I'm not going to be able to process that in court until right now, March. So I'm running 2 calendars a month for that. We are trying to fit in what we can. Obviously, I'll be handling, we're not moving any of the calendars for lack of a judge because the expense of adjourning it outweighs me working a few extra nights for the next month or so. I know that you passed a resolution to advertise. I will tell you, just from a practical point of view, I did speak to my administrative judge. If you, obviously, you may all know that you do not need to be an attorney to be a town judge. I hope you have attorney applicants. If you choose not to appoint an attorney, I just would tell you that the next available class before that person could take the bench is in December. There's one going on now. The next one is in December. So they would not be able to take the bench and do anything until the first of the year. Attorneys will only have to take 3 days worth of classes versus the 2-week class that the non-attorneys would take. And so they could be available to be appointed, after your appointment, they'd be able to serve based on the court rules shortly thereafter. And the training isn't set up for them. They would take that online. It's to introduce them to some of the changes with regard to criminal justice reform, bail reform, and some of the changes in the summary proceeding laws. So these are things that came down. But I just wanted to share that with you. I know you have a tough decision. You will have a tough decision to make, but I just wanted you to understand the parameters of what would happen if you appointed an attorney versus a non-attorney. So I wanted to wrap up. I know you're going to deal with you're dealing with a budget, and you have to deal with revenues as well as expenses. There's no doubt, even with me running and have had Judge Vasti when he was with me to run 2 calendars a month, even having that be done, I don't anticipate, and I can't imagine anticipating the same revenues we have had in the years past. I don't think any court, most judges that I speak with in the county have realized that and some courts aren't even open yet, but have realized that there's going to be, despite the best efforts by the court with our 2 clerks and me running, double duty for even our regular calendars, just trying to catch up, I don't know if I could tell you that you would hit, for revenue purposes, the same numbers that we hit, approximate numbers that were hit last year. So you're going to have to.
So
likely take that into consideration. I know it's gonna be, you got a tougher job. I'm gonna be working an extra couple nights a week. You guys are gonna have a way tougher job trying to figure out the budget. You have questions for me?
You answered one of my questions about which is better to look at an attorney or as opposed to a lay judge.
If you choose a lay judge, like I said, then you'll have me for doing everything until the
Right.
end of the year.
Right.
And not that, I don't view this public services as important, but my wife would probably
not fair
say,
either.
where are you going and what's going on with that? And are you getting paid? And I'll say, well, no.
That was going to be my second question. How did you and your co-judge work out those midnight arraignment things? Who came, who went to it? Yeah.
I did that years ago, actually, about 2010 or 2011. The Poughkeepsie Journal had a big expose on judges that didn't come out. So as soon as I took the bench, we created a protocol. So one judge was on 1 month, one another. We each would back each other up. Most courts in Dutchess County have followed a similar lead and do it the same way. Some might rotate it weeks and whatnot, but as the supervisor knows, and I think Mary knows, I was here today because we have daytime arraignments. So you need to have somebody who can be here within a half hour, or search warrants that were being signed today. Well, of course,
I know
you're in the
very well,
business.
yeah.
You know all that
I know all
stuff.
about it.
So that's another consideration is no matter how you cut it, that's how we scheduled our,
Okay.
rotated our arraignments, and we do need somebody who's available during the daytime. If that's something you're considering, because, there's no way one judge can handle the daytime
All of it.
calls for arraignments, or for a search warrant, or for other things that being in a legal professional. So.
Correct.
Any other questions?
I don't.
Just so you know, the few things that we've already, a big thing that we've already put on our JCAP grant, and we have it all priced out for you guys. That's going to include a more, I say it as diplomatically as I can, but a more professional, higher business-oriented copy machine and scanner, something that can handle the volume of work that we have. The machines that we have are fine, but they are more suited probably for a home office than the amount of the volume that we have. So we put that in our JCAP grant. I think we put it in at about $6,000. We have our stuff. It's similar to things that probably most you would see in your office or my office. I have a couple of them, but they're high productivity and high volume type machines that will connect to everything. So that's why I think I kept it, and I don't know what you did. I kept the equipment line down very low because I'm anticipating not having to use that, and whatever equipment we're trying to anticipate will hopefully be paid for by the JCAP grant. As I know the supervisor knows, and I know Councilwoman Albrecht asked me, the JCAP grant is available to us, and the maximum amount is, I believe, $30,000, but it is going to be reduced by the money that we put in for PPE, and so any masks, any plastic, any other stuff that was purchased for the court, once we have the paid receipt, my clerks are getting those, and then we're putting that in for reimbursement from the state. That's automatic. I don't need your resolution to do that. That happens, but it's only up to $1,000. I'm just trying to tell you where I'm trying to help you with some money, but
Yeah, thank
needless
you
to
about
state,
that.
the state's not helping me with any money either,
No.
so. Any other questions, guys? All right.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you, David.
Take care.
Thank you.
Again, I wanted to tell the board, this is the tentative budget. We passed the tentative budget by October 5th, and then the bookkeeper can calculate the percentage of the cap, and then we can go from there. Then this is purely my idea to speed things along with this. So with that, we can call the town clerk. Before we go on, does everybody agree with the court, the municipal court, the way I proposed it?
Less money, it's actually less money than they appropriated last year, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I understand
assuming
it.
you doubled those salaries that you wanted to make full-time, correct?
No, we went by 32 hours. Neither one of the court clerks want to work 40 hours. Okay?
I didn't think your wife would. So he put in for 32 hours as opposed to doubling it to 40 hours almost.
Well, on his request, which I don't have that with me right now, but I have it in my office, he wanted 40 hours.
Right, he said that. So I'm just assuming, I'm going by these numbers here without a calculator, that we doubled those
we went by
salaries,
the-
and that's why it's 170 is what
What we did, John, we went with the 32 hours and a 2% raise, okay?
But that's what you're giving. I'm just going by here, it says almost the same thing, so I'm
Well,
assuming.
we didn't put,
Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Frank, can I talk?
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, I never know whether I'm allowed to or not.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, he didn't get his paperwork into us until like a week ago.
okay.
That's why.
So he didn't figure out what 40 hours was and put that, okay, I got it.
Like I said, we can always go back.
When I say copy, this is what he actually sent to me. But again, it was only last week and we've already started the budget process.
Okay, I see.
So if you take what Judge Sears sent us, right, and then you, knowing that the two clerks don't wanna work 40 hours, right?
Right.
So we keep that line item the same with we're actually still, we're gonna end up budgeting less than you did.
Yeah.
So, if you take, so for all things being equal, if we take David's numbers that I guess John's looking at now, and we keep the court clerks the same with based off the increase that you figured out, right? The total appropriation for that budget for the court would be $153,895.96, which is $4,000 less than you
Less.
figured out. So,
I'm sorry, where'd you get the 4,000?
so you figure if you're looking at David's numbers that he sent over, Judge Sears' numbers, which I have here, I don't need a copy, but
Yeah, no,
okay, and then we disregard the fact, or we carry over your figures for the two court clerks with their increase, not increasing them to 40 hours, but just leaving them at 32 and increasing their salary. All those line items add up to where did the number go? $153,859.96. So we're $4,000 shy.
I'm sorry, I think.
No.
Did you get this?
Yeah, no, I'm looking at that. So what I'm saying is you keep these two numbers, right? And then everything else you use Judge Sears' numbers,
Oh, I see what you're
right?
saying. Okay.
Yep. And it comes out to be 153 instead of 157. So we're actually procuring less for that department, which gives us more wiggle room somewhere else.
Okay.
Just know that we do have the 4 clerks in there, so. Just wanted to make sure, because he thought that we only had 3 listed, but there are 4
Court clerks?
No.
constables.
Oh, constables. No, and, right, and, and that's including 6,000 for the 4th. Let me,
Yeah.
I could show you, I have it digitally, so that's why I can do it faster than you probably can, so,
No, because I'm just looking at it, because the constables, we had them slightly more because we did the 2%. So I think that's where we're off with Judge Sears, because he kept.
Yeah, we
them the
put
same.
2% in for the court
Gotcha.
office. That's where the
Right,
difference
that's
is.
where I think part of the difference is.
all right, well, hold on. So let's carry that over too. So if we carry that over, we're still 155.49, not 157. So we're still less than you were planning.
Right, we got the equipment line, and
Again, I plugged in all Judge Sears's numbers that he sent us, even for the constables and everything else. The only number I carried over, now I carried two sets of numbers, was the 2 court clerks and the 4 constables with the increase. And we're at 155.49.
you know what, I think he left off the longevity. And
Yes.
you have to pay longevity,
Yes, you did.
because they're
Oh.
entitled to the longevity.
Okay, hold on.
It's in there.
Wow.
Okay.
And
I
that
just
brings
want-
us pretty much where you were.
Right, I just want to make sure.
No,
we're
it's
all
not.
correct
Hold
with
on.
the numbers.
Yeah, no, hold on. It's 1,500, right?
Yeah.
Whoops, escape. We're 156,549, we're still less. I mean, it's, like, we're splitting hairs, I think, at this point, but
no,
yeah.
I
You know,
just
but
wanted
we're,
to make sure we were close.
Yep,
and then-
yep.
Yeah, so that we had
What did
everything.
Judge Sears put in for equipment?
he put in $1,500.
Okay, that's right.
Which was the same thing
Yep.
You had in there, Frank.
Yeah, and then he put in 1,500, then he put in 1,500 for schools and conferences, 3,000 for supplies, and then 2,500 for miscellaneous.
Well, I've only got 1,000 for equipment.
No, I'm reading Judge Sears' the numbers he
Yeah.
sent there. So, yeah, okay.
We're good with that?
I think so. Mhm.
Okay. So now we go to the town clerk. Hi.
I realize this is not an easy year, also, like, I agree with David, but I would like to see something. This is my couple years now, I've been doing the budget process, and in the prior budgets, personal feelings have always been a determining factor. It is not, if you were not liked, it did not matter how long you were here, how long you were employed with the town, the accomplishments of the office, your good audits, your awards that you have won, or accolades that were given from the residents. Your budget was frowned upon and voted down because of the dislike of that employee or an elected official. I'm optimistic this town board can put their personal feelings aside and look at the whole picture to do what is best for our residents, see past the negativity of the past, and look to the effectiveness and the professionalism of all the offices that come before you. And that's what I ask. So the town clerk position has always been a tough position since Margaret Hart has left. I have been trying to get her salary. As I passed out the 2016 salary, I am still not my salary was lowered so much that as of 2016, Margaret Hart was still getting more salary than I am. She has, so I'm asking for my salary to be raised once again. I have been doing the clerk job for a long time, and I have been doing the clerk job unbeknown to, even though I did not have the title, she was not allowed to touch any financials, so I was doing it. And I'm, again, asking once again for it to be fair and to be raised. I do realize this is tough times, unexpected tough times. As for my deputy Kathy, I am asking for a slight raise for Kathy. Kathy has been here 9 years. She has been one of the longest employees here. But as her pay stands right now, there are people who have been here for a shorter period of time and who are getting more money than her. So I am asking for a slight increase for Kathy to bring her up to where it is fair. Jennifer just started this week. She's doing really well. She's in the corner. She's doing really well. She is I feel she's going to be a great asset to our office. I'd like to thank the town board. Through some tough times of this year, I did work 13 weeks by myself. It was tough going back and forth, even though the building was closed. And I thank the town board for purchasing me a laptop. That has been a wonderful benefit. I can work from home if this ever happens again, that we're shut down for a period of time. I can do everything from home except sell hunting licenses. I can even do taxes. So, you know, if any quarantine time comes again, I can work from home. And I would like to thank the town board for putting in a window in my office. That's been a great asset too. I do have compromised health, and we do miss the residents coming in. We miss that interaction, but it's for the safety for the residents and the staff, so it's what works best right now. So I'm gonna start off with tax collection. This year, we extended our tax collection hours for 2020 for the month of February. I don't know if, Johnny, you remember the year before, I did 5 days a week,
Yep.
which was difficult because I have cash at night, so was not safe. So this year, we went with two nights a week. Worked much better. The court officers are here. We do it only for the month of February. At that time, we got in 33 people from the hours of 4 and 6, and they were very appreciative. That worked out really well, and I think I'm gonna go with that same plan come this coming February. Friday was always the catch-up date, but Friday I put on the tax bills. We do collect during Fridays. So this year in my tax collection, we did take in a little less cash. Normally I take in close to 60,000. This year I took in 46, but this was because I could not have anybody come to the door to pay me. So this was a
Sending it in.
little, right. But residents gave a positive feedback, so I hope to just carry on that tradition in February. God willing, everything stays good with the COVID. Our mail has tripled coming into the clerk's office.
Sure has.
It has
Stand to
tripled.
reason.
For the refuse tickets, the dog licenses, the handicap permits, everything we get a lot of mail. So now the handicap tags I have changed from a 3-year to a 5-year for residents, so it makes it easier. Now, I'm allowing residents to do their renewals by mail. As long as they send me all the proper paperwork, I don't have a problem. I will mail their tag back. They like that. That's been very good. They have responded well to that. They're more comfortable. Not everyone is still comfortable about coming out and talking with some, even though we're talking behind the glass. It's worked out really, really well for the office. Last year I brought up I wanted to do a dog enumeration and put this enumeration into the tax bills. This has always been a question about this. How can we add something into the tax bills? Yes, we can. I have talked to Dutchess County Real Property. They do not have a problem with it. It would save about $1,900 in postage. An enumeration brings in many dogs. Last time we did it, they usually do it between an 8 to 10 year span. Last time we did it, we brought in over 200 dog licenses. So the only thing we have to do, which I put in your packets, if everyone just looks, there is a resolution that was done by Scott Volkman a few years ago, and we would follow the same path, pattern that Scott Volkman has done here, to allow me to put the enumeration into the tax bills. So that works out. If the board approves that, we would just need a resolution in December, and I can get it all ready. So when Tom and Matt pick up my tax bills, we could start stuffing the envelopes and sending them out. That is the most cost-effective way to do this, I think. I do send out dog sympathy cards and thank yous. People really respond well, and I love to do it. There is a letter from a resident attached to your pile, just to show you that they really, that the clerk's office goes the extra step, and they really appreciate that. So this year, we won 3 awards for Habitat stamps. Last year, we won 2, this year, we won 3. The awards are attached to also to your packet. We came in at the top 5 for the highest percentage of customers served for the Habitat stamp, and we came in number 5 in overall sales in the state. We also came in first place in Dutchess County. So I'm very proud of that for our office. So I'm gonna hang them up. I have the other one hang up. That's a big accomplishment, and it's very nice to be recognized for it. I'm very proud of the office. Credit cards, we've always wanted credit cards. Melanie and I had a teleconference with Chase Bank. They are looking into it. Pretty much the dog licenses and the marriage and all that's pretty simple. The complication is the tax payments, because some of my tax payments are very large. Can they be accepted on a credit card? This is what the bank is looking into. I don't know if Chase is able to do this. She had mentioned to me $50,000 would be the cutoff, but some of my payments are a couple of $100,000 at a time. So they're looking into it. The bank is looking into that. I'm also going to be doing a check scanner, which will help me easier with the deposits. I do have the scanner. We just have to set up the appointment with Chase to get that to be more efficient. So I do a lot of notaries. I've asked this before. I've done a little over 400 notaries in a year and a half's time. And I'm asking Jennifer does have some interest to become a notary for my office, but it does take time. And what I'm asking for, because a lot of the notaries come from the planning and zoning department, is it possible to have a requirement that one of the girls in the office become a notary in there to help out? Melanie is a notary, but I can't be sending residents into the bookkeeper all the time for notarizing.
So someone in zoning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the permits have to be notarized.
Yeah, I don't see a problem asking them. I don't know if,
I don't know,
changing
can
their
we-
job description if we just literally appointed them to
No,
it.
but-
But I think we can ask them. I'm sure that we can get somebody in that office.
Yeah, to ask if someone's there would, because that would really.
How much
help.
But I'm not saying we can't require it, but we can.
would they do in zoning of that service?
I do a lot.
You do a lot, but
I do a
does it
lot. I
belong?
do all theirs.
You do all theirs?
Yes.
Got it.
That's why I'm asking if we could ask
Yeah,
one of the girls
yeah.
if they would like to, if you take the class is really good at Dutchess.
It's a tough class.
And then you take the test.
Gotta pass the test.
Yeah. But it would be such a great help, and like I said, I can't rely on poor Melanie. I can't be sending people into Melanie to
Yeah, I've done quite a few of the zoning ones
notaries.
also. The
Yeah.
zoning
You
people
can
send-
never have too many notaries in
No,
the building.
no,
Yeah.
it's true. Jennifer's been looking into it. I gave her all my study sheets, so she is working on that. Okay, marriage licenses, we've been inundated. If I tell you inundated with marriage licenses. Towns have been putting restrictions on only they are not doing non-residents. They're all coming to me. What happened is Westchester County, the county clerk down there, is not doing them. He's making them do it online, and it's taking months. So they're telling everybody in Westchester County to come to Dutchess County.
Going on.
So I know the town of Hyde Park, I know the town of Poughkeepsie have all put blockers on them. It's just, they're getting 4 to 5 a day. And that is a lot of marriages, a lot of paperwork. Also, with this enhanced driver's license, all these women need copies of their marriage license to show all their different name changes at motor vehicle. So that is also a very time-consuming.
I just wish I had that when I was in the wedding business. I'd have been hanging out next to you all day long. How was it, 5?
Yeah, lot of marriage licenses. I'm getting emails every day. Can you do my license? Can you do? And they're coming from Saugus, they're coming from all over. Peekskill, New Jersey. I had one from New Jersey the other day.
Well, do you feel it's such an inconvenience and a time consumer that maybe we should pass something saying you have to be a town resident?
Well, I didn't want, one of the clerks suggested to me that I should do it. And I feel I'm there to provide a service. I don't want to do that. If it becomes well over the realm, then I might have to, but at this point, we're balancing it, and only a registrar can do
All
it.
right. Do we get a fee for it? We,
Very hair,
nothing.
a little bit, just a hair.
Is it something that we would consider to raise the fee a little bit? Maybe
Yeah,
that might be a
little bit.
slight deterrent, and
Yeah.
if we
It's a
still get the
$40
volume,
set
that's
fee
more
from the
revenue.
governor, so. The only thing we don't charge is for active
What,
duty
what,
members.
what is a wedding license fee?
$40,
That's it.
$40. We make a smidge,
What do we make?
smidge.
What's a
Cents.
smidge? Cents?
Well, I think you've been seeing quite a few non-residents for the sporting licenses too, haven't you?
Yes, and that's because decals had changed their system, and a lot of clerks were not working. Yes, yes, Hyde Park is still not working. And we're getting a lot of their hunters coming in. Stanfordville, she's doing great, she's selling licenses, but she's only open till 1 o'clock.
I know,
So-
I was talking with a gentleman in the foyer last week who came up
Yeah.
from Pauling to get his hunting
Yeah.
license here, so.
Yeah.
So why can't we consider possibly an outside resident fee as opposed to a residence fee
I would
on
have
both
to-
of those counts?
I would have to look into that. I don't know if that is something that the governor would have to
Approve?
put his.
I mean, it's putting extra burden on our
Yes.
town hall.
Yes, it is. And
It's-
it's not just me, it's all the clerks
Right.
in Dutchess County have been complaining of the same thing. And Westchester is just telling everybody, go to Dutchess.
Well, that's
why
nice, so
they're
it
just
was,
rolling over.
but,
Tell
but
them to go back to us.
make
Yeah.
it worth our while, I mean, or, you know, possibly as a deterrent.
So just the final thing that has nothing to do with my budget. We have a doorbell and we take temperatures. Is there any way we can revamp this, that it's not the same office answering the door continuously? Is there some way we can work something out?
Yeah.
That, because it's really becoming
I'm sure.
an issue. I
Yeah, I'm
mean,
sure that we
You'll see
could-
her come flying out, or you see someone, we're trying, it's always the same, and sometimes we're just all busy, who's on the
Yeah.
phone, and the doorbell's ringing and ringing and ringing. If we can somehow come up with a plan to,
Yeah, no,
make
to
this more,
rectify that, yeah, make it.
make it more efficient.
And up your productivity.
That would be really greatly appreciated. I don't know what, but
I understand.
just something. Does anybody have any questions? Mine was pretty simple.
No, great. I have to say, great work on, you and Kathy should be commended for, the awards that you guys won. You do run a tight ship, and it doesn't, long before I was on this board too, when I got my marriage license from you, it was, quick, easy, was very cheap, but, you guys do a good job in that office.
Thank you. It was a little tough there. I was 13 weeks with no one.
Yep.
But we did it,
I remember.
and the laptop is, just can't thank you guys enough. That really makes a huge
Oh, yeah.
difference. I can do minutes from home. It just, and everything connects to these two computers in my office, and
Well, it's happened across the board. And a lot of
Yes.
people went home with,
Yes.
I know I worked with a laptop at home for a long period of time. And I think it's the future.
It's bringing us up into more modern,
Like 2020?
more modern times. Yeah, so thank you, everybody. Again, really appreciate it. You're up, buddy.
Anybody have any questions? No, nothing?
No.
No? Okay.
I hate how we spell salaries. It is what it is.
Okay, ready?
How we doing?
How are you?
So first, I just want to start off. I know I sent a letter to the board a while back about the salary, my salary as the highway superintendent. I don't know if, do you want me to read the letter? I'm assuming everybody got copies. I know it was a while ago. Anyway, yeah, I'll paraphrase. So the salary of the highway superintendent was cut to $60,000 a year. When I ran for the position was paying $72,000 a year. That's the base salary as well as the money to run the dump as well. So they were both cut. Nobody gave anybody any hints that the salary was going to be cut. It was done kind of in the last minute, the last few months. There were some rumors here and there, but of course nobody would confirm anything. And I believe it was either the month before the election or it might have been 2 months before the election. The salary was cut, which I believe to be very unfair and kind of like a false advertising for a position, if you will. So that being said, I'm asking the board to put the salary of the highway superintendent back to the original $72,000 that it was. I'm asking them to do that sooner than later. And I'm also asking that it be retroactive. Reason being, I'm still doing the same job. I know the one reason I got for why it was reduced was because the person that was coming in was going to be brand new. Well, in my case, it really wasn't so because I actually worked for the highway department, so I did already have some experience. I hit the ground running. We may have experienced a few hiccups, but there really weren't that many. So to say that I was cut because I was new was extremely unfair, especially given my background in construction and haven't been in the field before. So that being said, you know, I was kind of hoping that the town board would kind of fix it on their own, to be honest. I know you guys had 1,000,001 things going on this year, so I don't hold any ill will about that. The salary I'm making now, if you take the size of our town, the size of the roads, the amount of guys that I have underneath me, the running the dump, which by the way amounts to about $5 an hour for the amount of time I have to put into running the dump, makes me the lowest paid highway superintendent in the county. Not by a little, but if you look at the numbers that I've also handed out, by quite a bit. So anyway, I will leave that at that and leave that into your hands. And we'll move on to the bigger elephant in the room, my budget. So as you guys can see, I made some significant asks in my budget this year. I know some of them are larger than others. The biggest one is my permanent improvement line, which I asked the town board to fund $300,000. It sounds like a big number. When you're paving roads, it's really not. That's a line that hasn't been funded since, I believe, about 2010. I do have the budgets going back to 1994. So I kind of went through the budgets and looked at my numbers. So the only money we've had to pave roads in this town since approximately 2010 anyway, is the money we get from CHIPS, which at this point is only about $200,000, which maybe gives you about a mile of roads, and when you have 70 miles of roads to contend with, it's not a lot. So if we just continue to count on the CHIPS funding, it will take me 70 years to pave Pleasant Valley. Roads don't last 70 years. Anybody who's driven over some roads know that, you know, your good 20 years is about what you're going to get out of a road if they're maintained, as well as our roads have been maintained over the last 20 to 30 years. That's why we've gotten so much out of them. You know, for a lot of years, our roads have been rated #1 in the county, and there was a reason for that. You know, unfortunately, we're getting to the point now where I have entire developments that are falling apart. Forest Valley, Gretna Heights, Timothy Heights, Clark Heights. I mean, they're all in not just in need of blacktop repair, but drainage repair as well. A lot of the drainage and stuff, obviously, we can do, but the blacktop, you know, being we don't have a blacktop machine, you know, we got to lease that out. I also understand the concern of COVID. I get it. You know, the biggest problem I have is going back into the budgets over various years. It seems like there's always been some kind of reasoning for not increasing a line or decreasing a line in the highway budget for one reason or another, be it wasn't asked for, or maybe there was something else going on at the time. I know that the highway budget was kind of stagnant the last few years because they're looking to buy the town hall building, which is fine, but by reducing your highway budget, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because without a good funded highway department, You know, you can't get from here to there. The other thing I was looking for, and I know we're trying to keep our increases to a minimum, was to try to fund some DPW software for the highway department. I know I put a lot into that. It's not going to cost as much as I put in. I just kind of wanted to cover my bases. DPW software that I've been looking at, there's been 2 companies that I've really looked at closely. And the one company that I'm really leaning towards, the upside to them is once we sign on with them, they never increase their rate. So they would come in, let's say, at a fixed price. I think their initial price was around $15,000. That includes the software and that includes all the setup. So they drive around in like one of these Google cars with the camera on the roof, and every 3 meters or so, it takes pictures, and it catalogs and records every street sign, every stop sign, every mile of culvert, every pipe, every drainage, and it's all located via, either GIS or GPS, which makes it a lot easier when you're fixing stuff. It keeps track of your vehicles. You put in that you have like the new vehicle we just bought, 2020, my foreman's truck. I put in, it's a 2020, has this much mileage on it. Rob drives it from here to there. As we put the mileage in the machines we do, we record the mileage on the vehicles every month. It automatically calculates the depreciation value of that vehicle. Every time it's fixed, every time it's repaired, every time it's serviced, all that gets taken into account. So that's a big upside to being able to get software like that. Again, I know it sounds like I'm asking for a lot of money, and it's not peanuts for sure. But it's all stuff that needs to be done and needs to be funded.
Thank you. Again, we're in a COVID-19 situation, and although we'd like to do this, we cannot do it. So I would recommend we go with my proposed budget, and we'll see what happens when Melanie comes up with the calculations when the revenue part of it is a guesswork. As you mentioned to me, John, it's total guesswork. The court revenue's down, everything, we don't know what's going to happen. And so we're just doing it, we try to be conservative on our revenues, but it's a guess. So at this point, I would recommend we go with my proposed budget, for now anyhow. This is a tentative budget. We have to do it by October 5th. And then when Melanie gets done with the crunching the numbers, then we can figure out how we stand with the cap. And the cap is not 2%, it's 1.56%.
At this point, I have to agree with the supervisor.
I really don't see how we can do anything else.
So,
I mean, I really don't anticipate, if things stay as they are now, that we are going to have as much money to work with next year as we do this year. And I'm pretty nervous and uncomfortable about that at this point, to be honest.
And like I said, when we get done with the tentative budget and we get the approximate percentage, then we can look at this again in October. But right now, the danger is if we cannot come up with a consensus in November, it reverts back to the tentative budget. That's why I want to be very conservative with this.
my question is, right, if we're basically basing everything off of a multiplication factor of 1.56%, right?
That's correct.
Then the money that we're allocating, so if we compare the budget that you put together, Frank, versus the budget that we budgeted for this year, just for highways purpose, not including like the operational end, but this sheet here, we're $300,000, almost $300,000 shy. It's really 280, but yeah, but so we're still $280,000 short to like add back to that budget. So like, then what you're proposing is 1.59, right?
Right.
We allocated this year 1.81.
Right.
So if we're increasing 1.56%, that number should be almost 2, not 1.5.
Yeah, but we don't know about the revenues.
I understand what you're saying. Okay.
salaries, general repairs. In the past, they've been at a 60-20-20, meaning 60% towards general repairs, 20% towards snow, and 20 for machinery. This year, I just took the total amount, put 20% towards machinery, and split it 50-50. It was just easier for calculation purposes.
Okay.
So you're gonna see that as a little bit different too.
Yeah, I got you.
The highway employee salaries at the 185.8.
Yep.
And it looks like it's down to 165.1.
Yeah.
Because we moved it around in the lines.
Gotcha.
So you want this, Frank, as the tentative fallback budget,
As
is
a
that
fallback
correct?
option, yeah.
Yes.
So this would be a safe fallback budget that the whole board is comfortable with?
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, like, we have a couple more departments to go, but the idea is that this would be our fall, like, all else fails, this would be our fallback option. And I agree with the idea of having a fallback option that is just a blanket if we can't come to an agreement on other numbers.
I'm okay with that. I mean, they're not that far away.
No, that's the thing, John, we have to do it, you
Well,
know?
we still have to,
447.
we have we have more departments to go through.
Under
Right.
total salary.
Oh, I see what you mean.
That goes for like my roads, so when we do a road, we do curbs, we have to go out and get like topsoil to put on the side to make it flat, and seed, and
okay.
it's like
Monday's
we
the
need, like
fifth.
when we're finishing a road.
Okay.
I mean, I can also
not
use
that
that,
far away
it's
from
the
the,
same 4 lines, so I can use that for paving if I need to as well, stuff like that, but that's,
It's not that far away from last year's budget at all.
Should we set, while we're here, I'm just thinking about, Mary Beth brings up a good point. Should we set the date to release the tentative budget? We
Yeah,
have to set one, right?
I
So,
have it here, Frank.
oh, okay. Oh,
My recommendation would be Friday,
beat me to the punch.
10/2 at 1 PM. I'm open to negotiation on that. But
I- the
Melanie
time-
needs, the last budget meeting is the 29th, is it? The 29th, okay? That doesn't give her a lot of time.
No, I know.
That's why I was hoping for Friday, if that works for everybody else.
And then we have to set a special meeting, well, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I'll advertise it for that.
So it'd be Friday, October 2nd.
Right, because it has to be by the 5th, and I want to make sure that.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Okay.
have a day to spare.
Does 1 PM work for you?
There's 1 PM, I mean, we can, that's,
That's a work day.
Yeah.
I don't want to promise anything because I am having inguinal hernia surgery on next Wednesday morning.
Gotcha.
And I'm not so sure what kind of shape I'm
But
going to be in 2 days.
The only issue we run into, Keith, is we have to do it either the 2nd or the 5th, and the 5th
Yeah.
is the deadline. So if we do it, like, say we do it after hours, because both John and I, right, our schedules conflict, we're, at Monday, the 5th, we're doing it after the cutoff, so we can't do it then. So Friday the 2nd, either whether it be 1 or 5:30, I mean, you know,
I'd prefer 5:30.
me too. Yeah.
well, I'm flexible, so I could go
Yeah,
It's hard
5:30.
for me to go to work and then leave.
Yeah.
They don't like
I'll do my
that.
best to be there, and if I can't drive, I'll try to scrounge up a driver.
Friday, yeah, so, all right, so,
Friday at 5:30 PM.
do we need,
October
I'll make a motion?
Second.
2nd, Friday.
Okay.
Do
All
we
in
need a
favor?
motion?
Well, yeah. we do.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
So Friday, October 2nd at 5:30. That's it for that, right?
That's it.
Okay. You good?
What's that?
You good? Anything
Yeah,
else? Anything else you wanna add?
just really quick, you know, I had a thought, I had it written down here, I apologize. But I know the town of Hyde Park, just floated a 0% interest bond over the next 3 years for $600,000. I know floating bonds and paving are not necessarily a popular option when you're paying 2 and 3 and 4%. But if it's a 0% bond, it's a fairly cheap way to get $600,000 to help pave the town
So it's 0% over.
over 3 years, and it's a $600,000 bond. which means that, so you figure if you do it over 3 years, and if I have a $600,000 bond, and if you break that over 3 years, plus the CHIPS money, I mean, so now you're looking at $400,000 if the town can't find a way to fund the permanent improvement line, but if they do, then it would be that money on top of whatever we have for the permanent improvement line.
And that is for specific,
That's for, well, it's for paving.
For paving.
Yeah, they got the bond for paving. And again, I know it's not a popular option when you're paying percentage rates, but if it's 0%, it's not really costing us anything extra to borrow the money. Just a thought.
Except that we've got to make a $200,000
Well,
payment every
I,
year.
I.
Well, we could
acknowledge-
budget for that, but-
It's not like the money's free, I get it, I know the money's gotta be paid back, but, you know,
But that's-
you know,
that's
it's-
quite steep, yeah, that would blow right through the tax cap.
That's still 200 grand a year we have to find something.
I understand, and again, you know, and,
No,
you
I
know.
appreciate that, though, I love when it's 0%.
I do too, and you know, and I'm looking at our infrastructure, and unfortunately, it's beyond repair in some spots, and it needs to be redone, and I need to have money to do it.
Okay, we're done.
Yep, motion, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.